Hello everyone, welcome to Bajirao IAS Academy. So we have been discussing UPSC 2024 prelims examination question paper, right? So in the previous class we have discussed almost half of the questions, and in this class we will discuss the remaining questions. And the 53rd question: consider the following statements in respect of digital rupee. And digital rupee is a form of digital currency which was issued by the Reserve Bank of India, and in fact it is a sovereign currency because it is guaranteed by the state, and at the same time the Reserve Bank of India also issued it in alignment with the monetary policy, and this statement is absolutely correct. And second statement: it appears as a liability on the RBI's balance sheet. Yes, of course, any form of currency which is being issued by the Reserve Bank of India is considered as a liability on the part of RBI. So therefore in this case of digital rupee also, it is a liability on the part of the Reserve Bank of India. So thus third statement: it is insured against inflation by its very design. And this statement is absolutely incorrect, because no currency in the world can be insured against inflation, because inflation has a multiple factors. So therefore no currency can be insured against inflation, and this statement is absolutely correct. And therefore you left with one more statement. So the statement is: it is freely convertible against commercial bank money and cash. Yes, this statement is also correct. Why? Because it is a sovereign currency and it is also issued by the Reserve Bank of India, and because of that reason you can freely convert or exchange the sovereign currency or digital rupee with commercial bank and cash. Right? So therefore the correct answer for this question is option D, 1, 2, 4. Now if you look at the explanation very briefly: central bank digital currency or digital rupee or e-rupee, so multiple names. So it is a digital form of currency which is being issued by the central bank. In this case it is Reserve Bank of India. Now it is held in a central bank's digital currency wallet that is issued by the banks. And when we talk about this e-rupee, as I've already told you, it is a sovereign currency which is being issued by the central banks, that is RBI, and this is issued in alignment with the monetary policy. And monetary policy actually looks into the price stability and controlling the inflation are the key functions of the monetary policy, as mentioned by the RBI's concept note. Now when we talk about the e-rupee, it appears as a liability on the central bank's balance sheets. Now when we talk about the e-rupee or digital rupee, it offers several features including physical cash like trust, safety and settlement finality. As in the case of cash, it will not earn any interest and can be converted to other forms of money like deposits with the banks. So therefore the correct answer is D. Next question: so with reference to ancient India, Gautam Buddha was generally known by which of the following epithets? Now in fact it is said that Buddha is known by 10 epithets. And first, if you look at this Nayaputta is not associated with the Gautama Buddha, rather it is associated with Vardhamana Mahavira. But Shakyamuni and Tathagata are being associated with the Lord Buddha, and they are epithets of Lord Buddha. So therefore the correct answer for this question is option B, 2 and 3 only. Now if you want, you can also know about other epithets of Lord Buddha, because they are very important from the examination point of view. UPSC may ask such questions in future also. So next important question is: consider the following information. So they have given a tabular form information and archaeological site, location of the site in which state, and the description of the state. First, they have asked about this Chandraketugarh. They have given the state Odisha, and it is known as a trading port town. Now if you look at this Chandraketugarh, it is located in West Bengal and not in Odisha. So by knowing about this, we can immediately consider that this first statement is clearly incorrect, because the information which is given for the Chandraketugarh is wrong. It is located in West Bengal and it is not a trading port town, rather it is a very important archaeological site which is located in West Bengal. So next, Inamgaon. So Inamgaon is a post-Harappan agrarian village and archaeological site which is located in Maharashtra, right? So we already knew that Harappan civilization is one of the most advanced civilization in prehistoric times, and this Inamgaon is a post-Harappan agrarian village and also one of the important archaeological site which is associated with this Chalcolithic culture or Chalcolithic culture. So therefore statement 2 is absolutely correct. Now when we talk about this Mangadu, This Mangadu is located in Kerala. It is absolutely correct. And apart from its location in Kerala, it is also the megalithic site. So therefore, this statement is also absolutely correct, right? So you can see here archaeological site with the Iron Age funerary megaliths located in the vicinity of modern Munamkutti and Mangad Road in the northeastern portion of India's Kollam municipality, which is in Kerala. So therefore, statement 2 and statement 3 are correct. And when we talk about the Salihundam is located in Andhra Pradesh. There is no doubt about that. But Salihundam is not known for the rock-cut cave shrines. Rather, Salihundam is known for the Buddhist archaeological sites. Right, so this is an archaeological site which is featuring Buddhist stupa and huge monastic complex, and therefore we can consider only 2, 3 as the correct answer for this question. Now let's proceed on to the next important question. Who among the following rulers of medieval India gave permission to the Portuguese to build for fort at Patkal? Right, fort at Patkal is a fort on the western coast of India. Okay, so in fact in 1336 Vijayanagara Empire was founded by Harihara Raya and Bukkaraya, and at that point of time, and Sri Krishna Deva Raya ruled this particular region from 1500 onwards. So therefore, at that point of time, Portuguese influence was a very heavy influence of Portuguese in that region during the Krishna Deva Raya, and Krishna Deva Raya was also one of the most famous ruler of South India who belonged to the Sangam Tuluva dynasty. Okay, so Sri Krishna Deva Raya belonged to Tuluva dynasty of Vijayanagaras. So therefore, Sri Krishna Deva Raya is the correct answer because he gave the permission for the Portuguese to build a port at Patkal. Remember, it is also very important that every year UPSC has been asking questions from the Vijayanagara Empire. So therefore, Vijayanagara Empire is a very important and a very crucial topic. So therefore, you have to read about this in a much more comprehensive manner, because earlier also there were questions about the Vijayanagara architecture and Vijayanagara's taxation system, economy that was prevalent under Vijayanagaras. Now let's proceed on to the next important question. So with reference to revenue collection by Cornwallis, consider the following statements. Right, so this was the question with respect to the Cornwallis. Consider the following statements. Now, under the Raitwari system, a Raitwari settlement of revenue collection, the peasants were exempted from the revenue payment in case of bad harvest and natural calamities. Now who introduced this Raitwari system? So John Shore was the person who designed this. Sorry, not John Shore. I'm wrong. It is not John Shore. Rather, it was Thomas Munro. Right, Thomas Munro was the person who introduced this Raitwari system in Madras Presidency, Bombay Presidency, Assam and Burma. Right, Madras, Bombay and Burma. So these were the areas in which the Raitwari settlement of revenue collection was introduced by Thomas Munro. Now when we talk about this Raitwari system, so it is a direct collection of revenue from the peasant or the right. Now under the Raitwari settlement of revenue collection, the peasants were exempted from revenue payment in case of bad harvest or natural calamities. No, it is not correct statement, because they were not exempted from the payment of taxes even if they had a bad harvest or natural calamity, but they just offered a remission of the taxes but not complete exemption from the taxes. So therefore this statement is completely incorrect. Now after that, when we talk about the permanent settlement system, it is also known as the Jamindari system, and this permanent settlement system was designed by John Shore. As I've already told you, this was designed by John Shore. So John Shore was the revenue official under Cornwallis. So therefore Cornwallis was the one who implemented this revenue settlement, that is permanent settlement in Bengal. So if Jamindar failed to pay his revenues to the state on or before the fixed date, he would be removed from the Jamindar. Yes, absolutely true. So if he don't pay the revenue on time, because there was a clause called sunset clause, and because of this sunset clause, if the Jamindar don't pay the revenue on time, so his Jamindari rights would be taken away by the British. So therefore option B is absolutely correct with respect to this statement. Now consider the following statements. So these statements are with respect to Upanishads and Puranas, and there are no parallels in Upanishads. So this is incorrect statement. Parallels in the sense that moral stories, right? So moral stories, and in fact, if you look at Upanishads, there are number of moral stories were written. So therefore, when a statement says that there are no parallels in Upanishads, this is absolutely incorrect, because there are a lot of moral stories or parallels in the Upanishads. And second statement says Upanishads were composed earlier than the Puranas. Yes, this is a correct statement, because Upanishads contained certain parallels. Okay, so Upanishads in fact contain certain parallels. So this statement is incorrect. But Upanishads were composed earlier than Puranas. This statement is this statement is correct statement. So correct answer is only B, but this is not C. Okay, so correct answer is only B. Why? Because Upanishad contained parables. So this statement is incorrect, but Upanishads were composed earlier than the Puranas. So this statement is absolutely correct statement. And next, consider the following statements. So India is a member of International Grains Council. Yes, India is a member of Grains Council. In fact, you can go through all the members of International Grains Council. Okay, so there are a lot of members which are part of this International Grains Council. But second statement is a little exaggerating and irrational statement, because a country needs to be a member of International Grains Council for exporting or importing rice or wheat. Now, if a member doesn't become a member of the International Grains Council, that cannot export and import grains or wheat or any other things, rice and wheat. So this is completely irrational statement, because it is forcing a country to become a member of International Grains Council. Otherwise, you will be deprived of export and import of rice and wheat. So this is something which is not acceptable, because at the international level, every country is a sovereign country. Every country is considered as a sovereign country, and therefore this statement is incorrect. And you can clearly see that India is a member of International Grains Council. So therefore the correct answer is 1 only. Now, if you look at this explanation part of the International Grains Council, so this is intergovernmental organization. Why it is an intergovernmental organization? Because a lot of nations or countries members of this particular organization. Because of this reason, it is an intergovernmental organization. So this particular organization seeks to ensure cooperation in grains trade between all the member states, and they promote expansion, openness, fairness in the grain sector, and they also contribute to grain market stability to enhance world food security. Okay, next question. Which one of the following was the latest inclusion in the intangible cultural heritage list of UNESCO? Now you can clearly see the latest one in 2023. So this Garba of Gujarat was included in this UNESCO list of intangible cultural heritage. In 2021, Durga Puja was included, and in 2017, Kumbh Mela. So it is asking the latest inclusion in the intangible cultural heritage list of UNESCO. Now, latest one, a Chau dance was also included, but it was included way back. I think it was also included in the year around 2017 or before, right? So therefore, the recent inclusion being the Garba dance of Gujarat, and therefore the correct answer for this question is option C, because it was included in 2023. And after that, the next question: who was the provisional president of the Constituent Assembly before Dr. Rajendra Prasad took over? Now it is also a very simple question, and if you carefully follow, or if you carefully read the history and the modern Indian history, you can clearly answer this question. The correct answer is Dr. Sachidananda Sinha. So he was the provisional president of the Constituent Assembly before Dr. Rajendra Prasad took over as the president of Constituent Assembly. So therefore the correct answer is this, and you can go through the explanation given here. Next question: the Government of India Act of 1935. Consider the following statements. Now, when we talk about the Government of India Act 1935, this particular act is having the highest influence on India's constitution, right? A lot of provisions were borrowed from the Government of India Act of 1935. Now, this particular act provided for the establishment of an All India Federation based on the Union of British India provinces and the princely states. Yes, absolutely correct statement. Because now if you look at the salient features of Government of India Act 1935, so it has created an All India Federation, right? So it has provided for the establishment of an All India Federation, and this All India Federation is consisting of provinces and princely states as units, right? So therefore this statement is absolutely correct. So in fact the act also divided the powers between the center and units in terms of the federal list, center containing 59 items, provincial list, and the concurrent list. And in fact after independence also we have followed the very same list of subjects. We have union list, concurrent list, and the state list of subjects, which are included in the 7th schedule of the constitution, right? So after that the defense and foreign affairs were kept under the control of the federal legislature. So federal legislature essentially means that the the union legislature. So therefore this statement is also absolutely correct. The correct answer for this question is option C. Okay, so next question: which one of the following is a work attributed to the playwright Basa? Now in ancient times it is very important that you must or you make sure that you go through all these important texts written by Dandin and Kalidasa and Basa. So they were very important texts which were written in ancient times, right? So the correct answer for this question is Madhyama Vyayoga. So Madhyama Vyayoga was written by Basa. So Madhyama Vyayoga the middle one is a Sanskrit play attributed to the Basa. So this particular Sanskrit play is written by Basa in Sanskrit language, right? So he was a famous Sanskrit poet. So correct answer for this question is option C. So next question: Sanghabhuti, an Indian Buddhist monk who traveled to China at the end of the 4th century AD, was an author of a commentary on which of the following, right? So in fact, Sanghabhuti was a Buddhist monk or a Buddhist scholar when he went to China at the end of the 4th century AD. So he was the author of this Sarvastivada Vinaya. So therefore the correct answer for this question is Sarvastivada Vinaya. So again, if I can tell you that Sanghabhuti was a Buddhist monk, traveled to China in the 4th century AD and authored the commentary, this Sarvastivada Vinaya. Okay, so this is a significant code of monastic discipline within the Sarvastivada school of Buddhism. Now, so far you have got around 2 questions from the Buddhism, and don't forget that Buddhism is a very important topic for UPSC prelims now, because every year they ask question from Buddhism. Because even if you open and see the previous year question papers, you can see the questions on Buddhism. If they don't ask about the Buddhism, they'll definitely ask about the Jainism. So therefore make sure that you prepare comprehensively about both Buddhism and Jainism, because there is a high probability of asking questions from both these topics. So let's move on to the next question. Now consider the following properties which are included in the World Heritage List released by the UNESCO. Now, which of the following places are included in the World Heritage List of the UNESCO? So the correct answer for this question is, now if you look at the Mahabodhi Temple Complex, the Mahabodhi Temple Complex was included in the UNESCO list of World Heritage. Okay, so therefore this is correct answer. And sacred ensembles of Hoysala were also included as part of the so therefore correct answer is not B, right? So it is D. Sorry for that. So consider the following properties included in the World Heritage List released by the so how many of them included in 2023? So you can see that Shantiniketan was added in 2023 and Hoysala was added in 2023. So therefore only 2. So B is the correct answer. Sorry, B is the correct answer. Now it is very important that you should also carefully read this directive word. Sometimes they give very often they give correct, but sometimes they also add not correct. So that's where you may make it wrong. So therefore you should be very careful about this, because they have given this directive that how many of the above properties were added included in 2023 as a UNESCO list of World Heritage Site. Next, we'll proceed on further. So as per Article 368 of the Constitution, so it deals with what? Article 368 deals with the amendment of the Constitution, right? So amendment of the Constitution. Now Article 368 of the Constitution, that the Parliament may amend any provision of the Constitution by way of what? Now the Indian Parliament can repeal any part of the constitution, so subjected to the basic structure. Okay, so don't forget that it is subjected to the basic structure, but it can repeal any part of the constitution, and it can also vary, make additions, and it can also make changes in the existing provisions of the constitution, and it can also add. So therefore all these are correct answers, correct statements, 1 2 3. So correct answer for this question is option D, because article 368, notwithstanding anything which is mentioned in this constitution, Parliament may, in exercise of its constituent power, amend by way of addition, variation, and repeal any provision of this constitution in accordance with the procedure of the constitution. Now earlier it was very rare that UPSC prelims we see questions which have articles, but now UPSC, it seems like it changes its trend. It also started asking the articles. So therefore you should also pay close attention to the important articles which are dealing with the important provisions of the constitution. So the next question, without any delay, consider the following countries. Now before going through these countries, let's read about this. So which of the above countries are frequently mentioned in the media for their low birth rates and aging population and declining population? Now, so when we talk about the demographic dividend, India is a country with the largest demographic dividend in the world. But on the other hand, it is not the case with countries like China, Japan, South Korea, and many countries in Europe. So why? Because these countries are suffering with the aging population. Now, aging population in the sense that the birth rate has been declining, but on the other hand, number of people who are older age has been significantly increasing. For example, a birth rate is 3, but when we look into the older age population, there were around 20 to 25 populations, right? So therefore this is considered as an aging economy. Now aging economy, old age people less likely contribute for the economic growth and development. So therefore these countries are suffering with the aging population and low birth rates. Now what are those countries? Now most of these countries which have been suffering with this aging populations are either developed and industrialized countries. For example, Italy was one such country, Japan, and even South Korea, but not African countries and South Asian countries also. So therefore the correct answer for this question, A, 1, 2 and 4. So 1, 2, 4 is the correct answer for this question. And in fact you can see on this table 10 countries with the lowest birth rate per 1000 people. Okay, so you can see here the lowest birth rate for 1000 people. You can see all these 3 countries were featured in this. And in fact India is a country still maintaining a higher birth rate, even though it was recently stabilized. So we'll proceed on to the next question. Which of the following statements are correct with respect to the money bill in the parliament? Right now, money bill in the parliament, so it doesn't deal with the money bills. Okay, so when we talk about this particular money bill, article 109 mentions special procedure in respect of money bills. Yes, this is correct. So you can see article 109, a special procedure in respect of money bills regulation that is due to pass in Indian Parliament has to go through the either Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. So therefore this statement is absolutely a correct statement. And the second statement says that the money bill shall not be introduced in the Council of States. Yes, this is also a correct statement, right? So what is the Council of States? Council of States is Rajya Sabha, and therefore we cannot introduce this money bill in the Rajya Sabha. A money bill can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha, that too on the recommendations made by the President. So therefore this statement is clearly correct statement. And third statement, the Rajya Sabha can either approve the bill or suggest changes but cannot reject it. Yes, this statement is also clearly correct statement, because whenever any money bill is first passed in Lok Sabha and send the bill to the Rajya Sabha for its consideration, Rajya Sabha can suggest, can either pass the bill, but it cannot withhold the bill and it cannot reject the bill. Okay, so even if it withholds the bill with the Rajya Sabha, so after 14 days the bill is considered as passed. So it is just sent to the Rajya Sabha to take into consideration the views of the Rajya Sabha. Now fourth statement, amendments to the money bill suggested by the Rajya Sabha have to be accepted by the Lok Sabha. No, there is no need for the Lok Sabha to accept any of the recommendation suggestions which are being made by the Rajya Sabha, and therefore the correct answer for this question is option B, 2 and 3 only. Now we'll proceed on to the next question. So this is also a very difficult question. Which of the following is are the correctly matched terms equivalent rank in the three services of Indian Defence Forces? Now you can clearly see that Army, Air Force, Navy. So equivalent ranks. Okay, for example, a brigadier, air commodore, and commander. Now we'll go to the Army. So brigadier. Now when we talk about this brigadier, the equivalent rank is air commodore, and in Navy, so commodore is the equivalent rank. So therefore this statement is clearly correct. Now in Army, major general. Okay, so there's no major general, and so this statement seems it is incorrect statement. And when we talk about major, squadron leader, yes, and from squadron leader, lieutenant commander, yes, this statement is also clearly correct statement. And then lieutenant colonel, so lieutenant colonel, wing commander, so no, not group commander, wing commander, so therefore this is also clearly incorrect, and the correct answer for this question is 1 and 3 only. Okay, so equivalent of ranks. Now Northeastern Council, NEC, was established by the Northeastern Council Act 1971. Okay, so this Northeastern Council was established for the development of northeastern states, and subsequent to the amendment of this Northeastern Council Act 2002, the council comprises which of the following members? Now which of the following members are part of the Northeastern Council after the amendments were made in 2002? Right, so the options were given are governor of the constituent states, chief minister of the constituent state, 3 members to be nominated by the president of India, and home minister of India. Now when we talk about this Northeastern Council, it is not a constitutional body. Maybe it is a statutory body because it is constituted by an act of parliament, but it is not a constitutional body. And it was established under the Northeastern Council Act of 1971, and it was amended in 2002. And this Northeastern Council comprises of governors and chief ministers of the constituent states, and apart from that, 3 members were nominated by the president. So therefore 1, 2, 3 is the correct answer, but home minister is not part of this Northeastern Council. So the next question. Now, how many delimitation commissions have been constituted by the government of India till December 2023? Now, this delimitation exercise is not carried out in India despite the time limit has got, finished. Now, it is said that after conclusion of the census, we will undertake a delimitation exercise across the country. Now, the delimitation exercise essentially means that the constituencies either increased or decreased based on the population. For that particular purpose, after every census, the constitution made it clear that after every census, a delimitation commission must be constituted by an act of parliament, and president accordingly will appoint a delimitation commission. And this delimitation exercise or the process is performed by the Delimitation Commission, and it is set up under the Act of Parliament. And so far in India, 4 delimitation commissions were established, right? So in 1952, 1963, 73, and 2002, so far there were 4 delimitation commissions were constituted. So therefore, the correct answer for this question is option D. So next, the Constitution 71st Amendment Act of 1992 amend 8th schedule, right? So 8th schedule deals with the 22 languages, 22 scheduled languages. So therefore, the 71st Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992 amends 8th schedule to the Constitution to include which of the following languages? Now, what are those languages which are being included in the 8th schedule? Then it becomes 22nd schedule languages. So the correct answer for this question is Konkani, Manipuri, Nepali were added. Konkani, Manipuri, and Nepali were added to the 8th schedule under the 71st Constitutional Amendment Act. So therefore, the correct answer for this question is 1, 2, 3, option A. So next question. So consider the following page. It is from the modern Indian history. So a number of political parties were given. So you have to choose the leader which is being associated with this particular political party, or the candidate, the person who established this particular political party. Now, Bharatiya Janasangh, Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. So Sri Shyama Prasad Mukherjee founded Bharatiya Janasangh on 21st October 1951 in Delhi, and he became the first president of it. So therefore, this statement is absolutely a correct statement. So next, Swatantra Party was an independent classical liberal political party. So that was existed from 1959 to 1974, and it was founded by Rajagopalachari but not Acharya Narendra Dev. So therefore this is incorrect. Next, the Socialist Party. The Socialist Party was founded not long after India's independence, when Jayaprakash Narayan and Rambrish Benpuri and Besawan Singh, Acharya Narendra Dev have founded this, but Rajagopalachari is not associated with this Socialist Party, and this is also clearly incorrect. And next, Congress for Democracy was an Indian political party. It was founded in 1977 by Jagat Jeevan Ram. So therefore this is the correct statement. So correct answer for this question is option B, only 2. Now we'll proceed on to the next very important question. Now while reading this Indian polity from Lakshmikant, please go through all the schedules. And apart from reading all the schedules, all the 12 schedules, and then also look into all the parts of the Constitution, because you can see a question which is being asked from different parts of the Constitution. Now, which of the following statements are correct about the Constitution of India? Powers of municipalities are given in part 9A of the Constitution. Now we'll go to the part 9A. So yes, it is talking about the municipalities. So therefore this statement is absolutely correct. And emergency provisions are given in part 18 of the Constitution. Now we'll go to the part 18 of the Constitution. Yes, part 18 also, it is talking about the emergency provisions. And part 3 and statement 3, the provisions related to the amendment of the Constitution are given in part 20 of the Constitution. So if you look into the part 20 of the Constitution, article 368, so it also deals with the amendment of the Constitution. So therefore D is the correct answer, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so next question, which one of the following statements is correct as per the Constitution of India? So when we talk about the Constitution of India, now interstate trade and commerce is a state subject under the state list. So this is in the state list. Okay, so interstate trade and commerce is a state subject, but no, this is not a state list subject, because whenever we talk about this interstate trade and commerce, it is a subject under the union list. So, okay, so this is a subject under union list, but it is not a subject in the state list. Now next question, so interstate migration is a subject, it is a state subject under the state list. Now interstate migration is also not governed by any one single state, rather it is under the union list. So therefore this is also clearly an incorrect statement, right? So whenever you talk about this interstate migration or interstate quarantine, so both are in the union list. We talk about the interstate quarantine, this interstate quarantine and interstate migration are also under the union list. So therefore this is the correct statement. And corporation tax is a state subject. No, this is corporation tax, income tax, they are not state subjects, rather they are under the union government, right? So therefore the correct answer is option C. So this is also a very easy question. If you have some basic understanding about this, so you can clearly answer this question. So next question, under which of the following articles of the Constitution of India has Supreme Court of India placed right to privacy? Now when we talk about this, in Puttaswamy judgment, the Supreme Court has given a judgment that right to privacy is part of Article 21 of the Constitution. So therefore the correct answer for this question is option D. So right to privacy under Article 21, because Article 21 of the Indian Constitution speaks about right to life and personal liberty. So according to the Puttaswamy judgment, this right to privacy was included in Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Now next question, so what are the duties of Chief of Defence Staff as the head of the Department of Military Affairs, right? So Chief of Defence Staff is also very often in news. Okay, so there were some issues constituting the position of the Chief of Defence Staff. Now what are the duties of Chief of Defence Staff as a head of the department? So first statement says that he's the permanent chairman of Chief of Staff Committee. And second statement says he exercised military command over the 3 service chiefs and principal military advisor to the defense minister on all tri-services matters. Yes, all these 3 statements are absolutely correct. So the correct answer for this question is option A, right? So you can see the explanation part also. So to function as the permanent chairman of the Chief of Staff's Committee and to act as a principal military advisor to Honorable Raksha Mantri on tri-service matters, And the mandate of the Department of Military Affairs inter alia includes facilitation of restructuring of military commands for optimal utilization of resources by bringing about jointness in operations, including a thorough establishment of joint theater commands. So next question. So operations undertaken by the army towards the upliftment of the local population in remote areas to include addressing of the basic needs is called. Recently, so one operation was launched by the Indian Army. Okay, so this particular operation was launched by Indian Army to ensure multiple welfare schemes are benefiting the local population, local community. So therefore, this rapport between the military and the local people is very, very important for the success of the operations which they have been conducting in that particular area. So therefore, recently an Operation Sadbhavana, so this is Operation Sadbhavana, and it is an Indian Army is conducting multiple welfare activities such as running an army goodwill schools, infrastructure development projects, education tours, etc. Right? So this is done by the Indian Army under Operation Sadbhavana for children living in remote areas of Union Territory of Ladakh. Okay, so this is aimed at improving the standard of living, standard of education, promote them with the quality of education under this armed Indian Army. So therefore the correct answer for this question is option C, Operation Sadbhavana. Now we'll proceed on to the next very easy and simple question. The longest border between any of two countries in the world. So this is easy question, because if you carefully look into the map of the countries, for example Canada, USA, so they actually have the largest border of around 8,893 kilometers. But on the other hand, Kazakhstan, Russia, and they have the border of around 7,644 kilometers, and that is why you need to have a clear and comprehensive picture over all the maps, right? So especially the world map. Now the ethics committee of the Lok Sabha, so this is also a very important, and this is also current affairs based question, because recently one Lok Sabha member, a parliamentarian, Mahuma Moitra, was so he attended this ethics committee of the Lok Sabha, and because of that reason it was asked in this question. Now when we look into this ethics committee, before we'll decide this question, we'll go through the explanation. The late speaker GMC Balayogi constituted an ad hoc committee. Understand there are two types of committees in the parliament: ad hoc committees and standing committees. And standing committees are permanent committees. They are constituted every year. But on the other hand, ad hoc committees are constituted only for a specific purpose. After the purpose of the committee is done, so they will not function again. So therefore, earlier it was an ad hoc committee that was constituted in 2000 by GMC Balayogi. However, it became a permanent committee of the House only in 2015. So therefore, the first statement is absolutely correct, because it was initially an ad hoc committee, right? So we can eliminate this option. And second statement says that ethics committee, one of 36 parliamentary panels of the Lok Sabha, and this ethics committee works throughout the year and plays an important role in upholding parliamentarians' dignity, ensuring there are adequate checks and balances are available. Okay, and apart from that, it is the only committee that actually probes lay citizens' complaints against lawmakers of the Lok Sabha. The Rajya Sabha has the similar panel. Okay, so but when we look into this statement, only a member of Lok Sabha can make a complaint relating to the unethical conduct of a member of Lok Sabha, and this is incorrect statement. This statement is not correct statement. But on the other hand, if you look into the third statement, this committee cannot take up any matter which is sub judice. Which is sub judice in the sense that with any matter which the court, which is under the consideration of the court. So therefore, this is a correct statement. So correct answer for this question is C, 1 and 3. So this committee does not entertain complaints based only on media reports or matters that are sub judice. So sub judice means that they are under the consideration of the court. The committee makes a prima facie inquiry before deciding to examine a complaint. It makes its recommendations after evaluating the complaint. So therefore the correct answer for this question is option C. So next, consider the following statements regarding Nari Shakti Vandana Abhinaya. So recently the Lok Sabha has provided the parliament, right, has passed a legislation providing 33% of the reservation for women. Okay, so this is known as Nari Shakti Vandana Abhinayam. Now in this Nari Shakti Vandana Abhinayam, 33% of reservation was given to the women in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. So this provision will come into effect from the 18th Lok Sabha. Now this is incorrect statement. Okay, so why it is an incorrect statement? Because now this will be implemented once we conduct a new census. Once we conduct a new census and once we done with the new delimitation exercise, so this provision will come into effect. So therefore this statement is absolutely incorrect, because recently held Lok Sabha elections were Lok Sabha elections, 18th Lok Sabha elections. Second statement, this will be enforced for 15 years after becoming an act. So this essentially aimed at a political empowerment of women. So once the purpose of this particular Nari Shakti Abhinaya Vandana Abhinayam is done, so therefore it ceased to exist. So therefore it will be enforced for 15 years after becoming an act. So therefore this statement is absolutely correct. And there are also provisions for the reservation of seats for scheduled caste women within the quota reserved for the scheduled caste. Yes, absolutely correct statement. So the correct answer for this question is option C. Okay, so it was 128 amendment bill. Okay, so this was 128th amendment bill, and it seeks to reserve 1/3 of all seats for the women in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. The allocation of reserved seats shall be determined by such authority as prescribed by the parliament, and 1/3 of total number of seats were reserved for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes also. Next question. Okay, now next question is which one of the following statements about the exercise Mitra Shakti 2023 are not correct? Now, so first statement says this was a joint military exercise between India and Bangladesh. Right. So when we talk about a joint military exercise between India and other countries, so this is not between India. Mitra Shakti is not between India and Bangladesh, rather it is between India and Sri Lanka. Right. First go through the explanation. This is the 9th edition of joint military exercise, that is exercise Mitra Shakti 2023. So that commenced in Pune. Okay, so the exercise Mitra Shakti 2023 will also involve employment of drones, counter unmanned aerial systems besides helicopters, and drills were also conducted. Drills will also be conducted to secure helipads, undertake casualty evacuation during counter-terrorist operations. It will also be rehearsed jointly by both sides. And the Sri Lankan side is being represented by personnel from 53 Infantry Division and 15 personnel from Indian Air Force, and 5 personnel from Sri Lankan Air Force are also participating in this exercise. Now, first statement is incorrect because it was not between India and Bangladesh, rather it is between India and Sri Lanka. Second statement says that it is commenced on the Pune. Yes, this is correct statement. And joint response during the counter-terrorism operations was goal of this operation. Yes, of course, this also one of the goal. And Indian Air Force was part of this exercise. Yes, Indian Air Force was also part of this exercise. And if you accept what, so 2, 3, 4 are the correct statements for this question. Option D is the correct answer. Now, it is also a new trend. We can say that in UPSC, earlier there were no questions or less questions from such military exercises, but now UPSC has also been started asking about these. Now, we already knew that there are 32 writs. In Article 32, there are 5 writs. So, writ prohibition is an order issued by the Supreme Court or High Courts. Okay, so now writ prohibition is with respect to it is being issued by Supreme Court or High Court to the lower court, prohibiting the continuation of proceedings in a case. So therefore the correct answer for this question. So it is also very important. You just go to the Article 32 of the Indian Constitution and just read all these 5 writs: habeas corpus, mandamus, and prohibition, certiorari, and quo warranto, right? So prohibition is a legal term that implies to prohibit, restrain, or prevent, or forbid, and it is issued by a higher court, a writ of prohibition against the lower court to prevent it from exceeding its authority, going beyond its required jurisdiction. And apart from that, it cannot be enforced against the administrative agencies, statutory authorities, and private persons or any other enterprises. It is exclusively applicable to judicial and quasi-judicial bodies, and this is with respect to the prohibition. Correct answer for this question is option C. Now we'll proceed on to the next question. Consider the following statements. It is the governor of the state who recognizes and declares any community that state as a scheduled tribe. No, this is absolutely an incorrect statement. It is not the governor who recognizes any community or as a scheduled tribe or schedules. So this is actually the president who identifies and declares any community as a scheduled tribes community. The community declared as a scheduled tribe in a state that need to be so in another state. Yes, absolutely correct. For example, imagine that there's a state in Madhya Pradesh, there's a tribal community and they were declared as a scheduled tribes in Madhya Pradesh, but the same tribal community are living in somewhere else. For example, they are living in Tamil Nadu. So it not necessarily extends to the same tribal community who are in Tamil Nadu. So therefore, option B is the correct, right? Or 2 only is the correct, and the statement 1 is not correct. And if you see the explanation part, Article 324 prescribes the procedure that should be followed in a matter of specification of tribals, scheduled tribes. And under clause 1 of Article 342, the president may, with respect to any of the state or union territory where it is a state, after consultation with the governor thereof, notify tribes or tribal communities or these scheduled tribes. And the list of scheduled tribes in a state, a union territory, specific and community declared as a scheduled tribe in a state need not to be so in another state. So therefore the correct answer for this question is option B. So next question, with reference to union budget, consider the following statements. Now when we talk about this union budget, union finance minister on behalf of the prime minister, so not on behalf of the prime minister, rather on behalf of the president, lays the annual financial statement before the both houses of the parliament. So it was not the prime minister, rather it was on behalf of the president lays this annual financial statement before both houses of the parliament, right? So article 112 the Indian constitution says that every year president of India shall cause to be laid before both houses of the parliament on behalf of the president of India, but not the prime minister. Okay, so therefore this particular statement, the first statement, is clearly incorrect. And when we look into the second statement, at the union level, there was no demand for grant can be made except on the recommendation of the President of India. Yes, this statement is also absolutely correct statement, because if you want to make any demand for grant, so that should be made only after the recommendation of the President, but not cannot be introduced by the government on its own or the Council of Ministers on their own. So therefore the correct answer for this question is option B, 2 only. Okay, so option B, 2 only. So that is at the union level, no demand for grant can be made except on the recommendation of the President of India. So next question. So who of the following is the author of the book The India Way and Why Bharat Matters? So these two books are very often in news last 1 year, because they were written by a very popular person. So who is the current foreign minister of India, Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar. So therefore the correct answer for this question is option D. Okay, so The India Way and Why Bharat Matters was written by Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar, and he is the current foreign minister of India. So the next question, consider the following pairs, a country and reason for being in use. So first, Argentina. So Argentina is known for facing worst economic crisis. Yes, this is absolutely correct statement. So you can see here, a soaring inflation forces Argentina to print new 10,000 peso. So therefore Argentina has been going through the worst financial crisis or worst economic crisis. So you can see here Argentina's worst financial crisis and worst economic crisis. So it seems like UPSC has directly taken this from this particular news. So therefore the first statement is absolutely correct. Now when we talk about the Sudan has also been in facing a kind of a civil war. Now we can say civil war, or it is a conflict or crisis between a war between countries' regular army and paramilitary forces, and because of that reason recently Hakki-Pikki tribe, so Indian tribe, who were displaced from Sudan. So therefore this statement is also absolutely correct. This is also absolutely correct. Now when we talk about this Turkey has never rescinded its membership of NATO, and in fact Turkey is part of NATO, but it never rescinded its membership of NATO. So earlier Turkey strongly opposed the membership of Sweden into the NATO. Okay, so but now Turkey has also accepted Sweden's joining or membership into the NATO. Now, why earlier, Norway, Sweden, Finland, most of these countries, Nordic countries, were not part of the NATO alliance. But due to the Russia's aggression on Ukraine, now they are showing a lot of interest in becoming part of this NATO grouping. Now, NATO is ensuring a security umbrella, right? So therefore, this is absolutely an incorrect statement. B is the correct answer, only 2 pairs. Now, next question, consider the following statements. So this assumed pipeline is a strategic route for Persian Gulf oil and natural gas shipments to Europe. So second statement, assumed pipeline connects the Red Sea with the Mediterranean Sea. This is Red Sea and this is the Mediterranean Sea. So this assumed pipeline connects Red Sea with the Mediterranean Sea. Yes, both these statements are absolutely incorrect. And since it is connecting Red Sea with the Mediterranean Sea, it has been a strategic route for Persian Gulf oil and natural gas shipments to Europe. So this is how the oil and natural gas shipments will reach to Europe. So therefore both these statements are absolutely correct. The Suez Canal and assumed pipeline are strategic routes of Persian Gulf crude oil and petroleum products and liquefied natural gas LNG shipments to Europe and North America. And in fact, this assumed pipeline is located in Egypt. The Suez Canal is located in Egypt. So this particular canal connects Red Sea with the Mediterranean Sea. Next question, consider the following statements. Red Sea receives a very little precipitation in any form. So next statement, no water enters the Red Sea from the rivers. So it seems like Red Sea region receives a very little precipitation. Okay, so entire Western Asia or Middle East receives a very little precipitation or rainfall. So therefore the Red Sea receives a very little precipitation in any form, although the prehistoric artifacts indicate that there were periods with a greater amounts of rainfall. So in fact, there were periods in Middle East. Through archaeological evidences, we can conclude that there were longer spells of rainfall, a good amount of rainfall precipitation was received, but now they receive a very less rainfall. So in general, climate in Middle East is conducive to outdoor activity in fall, winter and spring, except during the windstorms. The temperatures actually varying from 46 to 82 degree Fahrenheit. Now when we talk about the no water enters the Red Sea from the rivers, no water enters Red Sea from rivers. Rainfall is a very scant, but the evaporation loss in excess of 80 inches per year. So the correct answer for this question is option C. Okay, so both 1 and 2 are correct statements because no water enters into the Red Sea from any other rivers. Now, according to the Environmental Protection Agency EPA, which one of the following is the largest source of sulfur dioxide emissions? Now you can see here US Environmental Protection Agency, and according to US Environmental Protection Agency, the largest source of SO2 emissions are fossil fuel composition at power plants and other industrial facilities, right? So fossil fuel composition and power plants are the largest sources of the sulfur dioxide into the environment or atmosphere. So correct answer is D. So next question. So there is instability and worsening security situation in the Sahel region. Now what is the Sahel region? This is the Sahel region, right? So this is the Sahel region or sub-Saharan Africa. Now if you look at this Sahel region, there is a lot of instability and even worsening security situation also, because there were civil wars, armed conflicts, terrorism, so which is widely prevalent in the Sahel region. Now when you look into the second statement, there have been a military takeovers, coups and detained several countries in the Sahel region in the recent past. Yes, because of all these reasons, Sahel region has been facing instability and it also going through the worsening security situation. So the correct answer for this question is both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 explains statement 1 as well, right? So this is the Sahel region, and this Sahel region has been experiencing several simultaneous crises. Now these simultaneous crises including a security crisis, regular attacks carried out by the armed and terrorist groups against civilians, security forces, but also fueled by inter-ethnic violence. Over 4,000 people died from attacks in 2019. So next question. So India does not import apples from United States of America. No, this is absolutely wrong statement. So why India don't import apples from USA? So this is incorrect statement, right? So if you go through it, so you can clearly see first statement is incorrect, and there's only one option with the first statement is incorrect. Now in India, the law prohibits the import of genetically modified food without the approval from the competent authority. Yes, this is absolutely correct. Now there are certain genetically modified foods which are being produced across the different parts of the world. Now we have a strict regulations with respect to genetically modified foods. Now if any importer wanted to import these GM foods from any other country, so of course they need to seek permissions from the competent authority. So this is absolutely correct statement, there is no doubt about that. So even if you have some basic idea, basic knowledge about this, you can clearly answer this question. So the correct answer for this question is option D. Next question, with reference to Speaker of the Lok Sabha, consider the following statements. So while any resolution for the removal of the Speaker of Lok Sabha is under consideration, so she shall not preside. Yes. So if any resolution for the removal of the Speaker of Lok Sabha is in place, then or it is under consideration, he or she shall not preside, and this is absolutely correct statement. Second statement, he shall not have the right to speak. No, this is incorrect statement. In democracy, everyone have given the right to speak, freely express their views. In this case of parliament, parliamentarians have this right to freedom of speech and expression also. So therefore this statement is incorrect. Statement 2 is also clearly incorrect. And he shall not be entitled to vote on the resolution in the first instance. No, he can vote in the first instance, but he cannot vote. He cannot vote in case of a tie. So therefore the correct answer for this question is option A, 1 only. So when a resolution for the removal of the speaker is under consideration, so he cannot preside at the sitting of the house, though he may be present. However, he was allowed to speak. He is allowed to speak and take part in the proceedings of the House at such time and vote in the first instance, though not in the case of equality of votes. Whenever there are equality of votes, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha cannot vote in that case. Okay, so but he is allowed to vote in the first instance because he is also a member of the Lok Sabha. Right, so it should not be needed here that whenever the Lok Sabha is dissolved, the speaker does not vacate his office and continues till the newly elected Lok Sabha meets. Yes, this is correct. In fact, that is explanation, right? So with reference to Indian Parliament, consider the following statements. The first statement says that whenever a bill is pending in the Lok Sabha and elapses on its dissolution, yes, absolutely correct statement, because whenever any bill which is pending in the Lok Sabha and Lok Sabha dissolution of the Lok Sabha takes place, then this particular bill will also lapses. Second statement, a bill passed by the Lok Sabha and pending in the Rajya Sabha lapses on the dissolution of the Lok Sabha. Now this is also a correct statement because a bill which is being passed by Lok Sabha and pending in the Rajya Sabha, and it lapses because it is not passed in the Rajya Sabha. Therefore this statement is also clearly correct. And third statement, a bill in regard of which of the President of India notified his or her intention to summon the House to a joint sitting lapses on the dissolution of Lok Sabha. Okay, so this is incorrect statement because a bill in regard to which President of India notified his or her intention, he already notified his intention to summon a joint sitting of the House. So even after his intention to summon a joint sitting, if the dissolution of Lok Sabha takes place, so the bill will not lapses. So therefore the correct answer for this question is option B, and you can go through the explanation of this particular question here. Okay, so in which cases the bill of the Lok Sabha passed lapses or it doesn't lapse. So next question, with reference to Parliament of India, consider the following statements. Now with respect to Parliament of India, prorogation of the House by the President of India does not require the advice of Council of Ministers. Yes, it actually does not require the advice of the Council of it actually does not require the advice of the Council of Minister whenever we're talking about the prorogation of the House by the President. Next question, Next statement, prorogation of the house is generally done after the house is adjourned sine die, right? So when the business is completed in this session, the speaker of the Lok Sabha, chairman of the Rajya Sabha just declare adjourned sine die, and after that the prorogation of house actually takes place. But there are no bar on the president of India prorogating the house which is in session. Yes, this statement is absolutely a correct statement. Now, third statement, the dissolution of Lok Sabha is done by the President of India, who, save in exceptional circumstances, does so on the advice of the Council of Ministers. Now, this is incorrect because it is not on the advice of the Council of Ministers, but rather on the advice of the Prime Minister. So, therefore, this is incorrect statement, and statement 1 and 2 are correct statements. Right? So, you can go through the explanation of this particular question. And next question. The European Parliament approved the Net Zero Industry Act recently, and statement 2 says that the European Union intends to achieve carbon neutrality by 2040, therefore aims to develop all of its own clean technology by that time. Now, it is true that European Union wanted to become a net zero over a period of time, and accordingly it has been bringing in new laws, new policies and new regulations for its industry, so that it would curb the excess emissions into the atmosphere, and it would also meet the net zero target. And because of that reason, the European Parliament recently approved this Net Zero Industry Act. So therefore statement 1 is absolutely correct. There is no doubt about that. Now when we talk about the statement 2, the European Union intends to achieve carbon neutrality by 2040. Yes, they wanted to achieve carbon neutrality by 2040. And therefore they aims to develop all of its own clean technology. No, it is absolutely incorrect statement. They don't want to develop all of its own technology, and that is technically not possible also. So the correct answer for this question is option C, because on 6th February 2024, European Parliament and Council reached a political agreement on the Net Zero Industry Act. So this particular act will attract a lot of investment into the European Union, and it will also create better conditions and a market access for clean technology in European Union. So the aim is that European Union's overall strategic net zero technologies manufacturing capacity approaches reaches at least 40% of annual deployment needs by 2030. So this statement is incorrect and this statement is correct. So therefore correct answer for this question is option C. So next question, consider the following statements. Statement 1. Recently, Venezuela has achieved a rapid recovery from its economic crisis and succeeded in preventing its people from fleeing or immigrating to other countries. Now, this is incorrect statement because Venezuela has not yet achieved any sort of economic relief from the economic crisis. Okay, but second statement, if you look at the second statement, Venezuela has the world's largest oil reserves, and you can see this table, countries with top 10 oil reserves. So first Venezuela with the top oil reserves, followed by Saudi Arabia. So despite a country with a top oil reserves, Venezuela has been going through a lot of economic crisis, right? So first statement is incorrect, second statement is correct. So therefore the correct answer for this question is option D. There's no sort of economic relief for the people of Venezuela. So with reference to Digital India Land Records Modernization Program, consider the following statements. Now, to implement the scheme, central government provides 100% funding. Yes, it is 100% funded by the central government. In fact, it is a central sector scheme. Under the scheme, the cadastral maps are digitized. Yes, so these two statements are absolutely correct. And an initiative has been undertaken to transliterate records of rights from local language to any of the languages recognized by the Constitution of India. So all these three statements are correct. You can go through the explanation part. So Digital India Land Record Modernization Program, and it was erstwhile National Land Record Modernization Program, was revamped and converted as a central sector scheme with effect from 1st April 2016 with 100% funding from the central government. Next question. With reference to Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan, consider the following statements. Now, first statement says that this package guarantees a minimum package of antenatal care services to women in their second and third trimester pregnancy and 6 months post-delivery healthcare service in any government health facility. Now this is not any government health facility, rather some selected healthcare facilities. Now you cannot get such kind of facilities in any government health facility, right? So this is a kind of a vague statement, so therefore this statement is absolutely incorrect statement. So there are some designated facilities to provide the specific care for the mother. Okay, so first statement is incorrect statement. Under the scheme, private sector healthcare providers of certain specialties can volunteer to provide services at nearby government health facilities. Yes, this is absolutely correct statement. So therefore the correct answer for this question is only option B. So you can go through the explanation of this particular question. And the next question and the last question. So with reference to Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Man Dhan Yojana, consider the following statements. The entry age group for the enrollment of the scheme is 21 to 40 years of age. Now this is absolutely an incorrect statement, because you can see the age must be between 18 to 40 years but not 21 to 40 years. And second statement, age specific contribution shall be made by the beneficiary. Now age specific contribution in the sense that, for example, imagine that a worker joins this particular pension scheme in 35 years. Then accordingly he need to pay to get a pension, a decent amount of pension every year. So therefore this is the correct statement, and each subscriber under the scheme shall receive a minimum pension of 3,000 rupees per month after attaining the age of 60 years. Yes, this is also absolutely correct statement. And family pension is applicable to the spouse and unmarried daughters. So it is not to the daughters but only to the spouse. So the half of the pension amount will be given to the spouse of the deceased individual. So therefore this is incorrect statement. Only 2 and 3 are correct statements, and you can go through the explanation, and the correct answer for this question is option B. Okay, so that's all in this lecture, and thank you so much. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you have any suggestions to us, so just write those suggestions in the comment section, and thank you so much.